So for the entire year or for the entire period of this government, the Akufo-Addo Bawumia-led government, I think this is the best news I have personally heard. Today, I trampled upon a news item that is suggesting that cement prices in the country are going to be it's going to be set that they cannot price it beyond certain limit, and LI is going to be introduced to parliament to make it a law that will be enforced to ensure that manufacturers do not price cement beyond certain price. And for me, that's amazing, because look, we just like last 2 years I started a project where I was buying cement for like 30 cities, 35, 40 cities, depending on the R. I don't even know what the R means, but honestly, as of today, cement is costing over 100 cities, 90 cities, 100 and over. It's just mind-boggling. You think about it, and you want to run mad. It just doesn't make sense in a country where everyone does what they want, everyone prices their items what they want. It's as though there's no government. It's as though there's no rule of law in the country. And so for a law to be introduced from parliament to ensure that manufacturers adhere to that, I think it will be a great thing for everyone, for the citizens of the country. Let us try and make things a bit affordable for people of this country. It's not a curse that we are born as Ghanaians. Let us enjoy a privilege for being a Ghanaian. Let's listen to Joy News as they digest it.
Staying with us, and tonight we start off from this controversial LI. We've been talking about it yesterday, seeking to regulate the prices of cement in the country. Yesterday you heard the cement manufacturers and the Chamber of Cement Manufacturers mention that they are not being consulted about this particular LI. They know nothing about it. Well, tonight it's imagined that they could face up to 3 years in jail under proposed legislation to regulate the prices. We've been hearing from the minister as well, but my colleague Evans Mensah has just finished interviewing the Trades and Industry Minister for PM Express tonight. He joins me via Zoom on this, has a copy of this particular LI. Let's go through it, Evans. So really, if up to 3 years in jail, what exactly are the details?
So we're now getting a bit more on this, and a copy of this legislation makes it very clear. And the exact title of the legislation is the Ghana Standards Authority Pricing of Cement Regulations 2024. Now, the important thing to note about this legislation is that it sets what they call a maximum allowable retail price for cement. So call it a price ceiling, beyond which no manufacturer can sell a bag of cement. So that, in essence, is what this legislation will do if it's passed by Parliament. Now, in coming to that maximum allowable retail price, that price ceiling, they have to consider a few things. One, they need to consider the ex-factory price of the cement. They also need to consider the cost of the preparation of a production account for the sale of cement, the cost of transportation of the cement, related costs. And then the last point is one of that is a controversial one, a reasonable profit margin. Now, the question then becomes, what is reasonable profit margin? Now, the minister believes when a committee already has been set up as part of a legislation that has already been passed, LI 2480, called the Ghana Standards Authority Manufacture of Cement Regulations, which was passed in 2023. This particular legislation has already a committee in place, and that committee includes representation from the Ghana Cement Manufacturers Association. Now, it is this committee that is tasked with setting this price ceiling. So that is what this new legislation, which has become very controversial and before Parliament, is proposing to do, setting a price ceiling beyond which you cannot sell a bag of cement.
So the indication he's giving is that this is not to just regulate it, but to ensure that at least cement prices are at a reasonable rate. Is that it? But he's also been telling you about consultations with the cement manufacturers themselves. At least he's been speaking to Kweku Asante on this. We'll get to it. But what exactly has he been saying when it comes to consultation or broad consultation on this legislative instrument?
Well, his view fundamentally is that when it comes to legislation, he doesn't need to consult the cement manufacturers on this. And that because there was a committee that was set up already. And he told the committee that they should self-regulate and also publish regular pricing, uniform pricing across the country, and that they failed to do so. I don't know if you recall, a few weeks back, he gave a directive for the cement manufacturers to reduce their prices at the time when the prices were going up. And we spoke to the cement manufacturers and they rejected that. Now, he references that point. In fact, he says he had traveled and he heard that the cement manufacturers were making mockery of him and were teasing him that he could not do anything. And that this is his comeback to them. This legislation that now will compel them. Now, listen to this. This legislation is not only one that is seeking to impose a price ceiling. It is actually proposing stiff penalties for all manufacturers who violate the terms of this particular LI, including up to 3 years imprisonment for manufacturers. And this legislation has been worded very carefully. So you ask the point. So a manufacturer, 3 years imprisonment, up to 3 years imprisonment, who exactly are you going to throw in jail? Because of course it's a corporate entity. They have this particular legislation spells it out very clearly. It talks about, in the case of a body corporate, every director and officer of that body corporate is deemed to have committed that offense. In other words, if you violate this and you sell above the price ceiling, the directors of that company, the officers of that body corporate will be thrown into jail if indeed you are found guilty, up to 3 years in jail. And then it says, in case of a firm or partnership, every partner of that firm or partnership or any other person concerned with the management of the firm is deemed to have committed that offense. So the offense is clear, which is you cannot sell above this price ceiling without the approval of the committee. And if you're taken to court, the court has a broad spectrum to impose penalties, including the imposition of fines, 2,500 penalty units, and not more than 4,000 penalty units, or to a term of imprisonment, or not more than 3 years, or both, indeed. So in cases, you can get both a fine and imprisonment.
But that's interesting, and this is to the manufacturers, at least up to 3 years in jail. But what happens to the retailers who also give their own prices when it comes to cement? Is there provision for them?
So that's not attached the retailers. It's directed at the manufacturers. So because they believe they set the prices, and so that is where the focus is as far as this is concerned. When it comes to the commitment of an offense under this legislation that has been proposed.
Okay, well, stay with me, Evans, because he's also been interacting with journalists in Parliament, and our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent, Kwekwa Sante, joins us via phone on this particular matter. So you sought to also ask him about whether this is actually to impose prices on manufacturers or rather to determine the reasonable prices of the commodity. What exactly has he been saying in Parliament as well?
Well, he's laying back on the premise that Evans has just laid. He says that the committee that is already in place is really going to sit around the table with these cement manufacturers. And it's not just a decision that is going to be taken by the minister or government, but that committee that has been set up by the LI that is already in place will do, in fact, work together with these cement manufacturers to ensure that at the same time they are on the same plate and on the same, in terms of the wavelength. And it's also assuring that the cement manufacturers can be assured of profitability. Listen.
For a long time, you never see cement prices de-escalating. It's always escalating. It's always going up through the ceiling, through the roof, and towards the skies. Somehow, something has to be done about this. At a point in time, we were not producing so much cement in the country. Now we have an installed capacity of over 11 million tons in the country. Our demand is nothing like 11 million, so it must be a very profitable enterprise. But I think it behoves on those in responsible positions in authority to ensure that the good people of Ghana are not fleeced. I am not comfortable. I don't believe that we're getting good prices for all that it's worth. I think there's something fundamentally wrong with the pricing of cement in the country. Every sector of the economy, your house, your whatever projects, whatever, you require cement for that purpose. Now, I take the view that it's about time that the country was better served by those who are selling this product to us. You have a kind of arbitrariness in the pricing of cement. And it's been so haphazard. I strongly believe that there must be some sanity in the system.
Well, Kweku, the issue also about the chamber for cement manufacturers. We interacted with Dr. Dawson Amwa yesterday on the lack of consultation when it comes to this particular airline. In fact, he mentioned that it was news to him that there's an airline that's going to be introduced. Well, you put that question to KT Hammond. What did he say?
KT Hammond said he had made a moral attempt to convince these cement manufacturers not to increase prices, quote unquote, arbitrarily, and had not succeeded. He said, in fact, he met these manufacturers several times, and at his back, these cement manufacturers did say that he, as minister, was not going to be able to do anything. And not having been able to convince these persons morally, he says he's taking the legal route, that the Constitution gives him the right to impose this law, and that is what he's seeking to do. And once those issues that the minority have raised are out of the way, he's expecting to get this CI laid in Parliament.
So I asked them to ensure that something was done about this. In my absence, I was told that the minister wasn't going to be able to do anything. They would not listen, they wouldn't do it, they would go the way they want. Well, I have only one other avenue. I mean, encouraging them to do it is a moral persuasion. If moral persuasion fails, there is a system in the country, there's a constitution, we operate by rule of law. You come to parliament and then you ensure that there are laws. I mean, we have the constitution. So if the constitution mandates me to bring an ally, I bring the ally to ensure that somebody abides by, if we don't accept the moral principle, at least some sort of economic principle. The good people of Ghana must benefit. I don't think it is fair for the way they are pricing and the way haphazardly each one of them deciding and dictating how much a bag of cement should be sold for. This is quite apart from the quality that they are producing. Some of the companies are producing substandard products. We have had to deal with this matter. Ghana Standards Authority, which is in charge of this whole program, has had a hard time tackling quite a few of these companies, but we are on track with respect to that.
Well, Kweku, I'll come back to you on the pre-laying discussion, but Evans, is the minister, I'm sure that you put that question to him in that interview on whether he's ready for that pushback that may come when it comes to this LI.
He is ready. In fact, he is categorical that he will ignore the petition that has been sent. A copy has been sent to him and to Parliament, as you know already. He categorically says he will ignore that. In fact, he tells me he doesn't need to even consult them in the first place. So he's pushing ahead. And as far as he's concerned, the next step is he has given me a timeline that in the interview that will be played fully on PMS later tonight, that he expects that by Friday, this would have been fully laid and the counting will begin. Remember that once this is laid, 21 days, if nothing happens, it becomes law. And for him, he's pressing ahead.
Well, so that's his hope, and that will be in that interview that we are looking forward to tonight, Evans. But Kweku, has that pre-laying discussion actually begun?
We understand it has, and in fact, the minority are indeed ready themselves for something bigger. I battle with the minister regarding this. A source within the leadership tell me they are not really opposed in terms of the principle of this, but that the minister is just trying to really obfuscate the issues and really exculpate his government when it comes to the real reasons for which reasons the cement prices are going up. They talk about the city, and in fact, there was an interview and a press conference today by Dongo where he talks about what he believes government has been doing poorly in getting the city to properly behave itself, quote unquote. And the city has been on a free floor. That is the responsibility of government, and that is part of the reason why cement manufacturers are having to increase this, because the raw products that they use, the clinker and coal, are not manufactured locally. They have to import them, and that will mean foreign exchange, and they can't get that at a very affordable one. And so these are all issues that the minority really believe that government should be dealing with, and that could automatically translate to lower prices. This MP that I talked to, for instance, cites to me what happened 7 years ago, 8 years ago, when cement prices used to be around 25 or 30 cedis. He says that clearly means that if the economy is in good shape, cement manufacturers are reasonable persons who will not just inflate the prices just to make profit, as it were. So the minority really believe that these are questions and concerns they'll put to the minister. But these are all things that they have to do now and Friday, when the minister expects to push through with this LI. Mind you, he needs 21 sitting days to be able to get this LI to mature. Parliament is expected to rise at the end of July. After this week, that 21 days, he may not get for that LI to mature. And so that is why he's really in a rush to get this LI laid as soon as Friday.